So after weeks and weeks of waiting and checking every day online for the tracking and watching it make its way across the globe, to me it has finally arrived. Hello and welcome to another episode of FPVOE. My name is Emmanuel and today I am going to be starting the journey of building my first ever FPV drone. So why did I decide to build a drone? So if you've been following my channel or you haven't been following my channel, basically I've been flying the DJI O4 Pro for a while and I've been wondering what is next for me to go to. So the main thing that was stopping me going out and buying another drone was one, the cost, and two, the fact that I would not have DJI Care Refresh anymore, which is something that's been a bit of a safety net to me. I've not had to use it yet, touch wood, but I didn't want to have the fear of flying a drone and not being able to basically get it repaired or having lost the money that I've spent on it. So that led me down the route of deciding to possibly build one, because in the theory, if I can build it, I can fix it if I break it. But we'll see in the future if that is the case. Oh, and before I forget, please remember, if you're enjoying the videos, please remember to hit like, subscribe and comment. So once I decided that I was going to build a drone, I had to look on the web and find a drone that ticked a certain set of boxes for me. So one, I had to kind of make my decision whether I wanted to go for acro or long cinematic flights. I kind of decided to settle in the middle and go for the best of both worlds. So I decided to get a 6-inch drone that would allow me to kind of do acro, but also fly and get those long cinematic shots and strap on a whopping battery if I wanted to, so I could fly it for longer. Once I decided on that, I then had to look for a drone that would work with the DJI O4 transmission. So obviously I bought my goggles and controller all part of the kit when I bought the DJI O4 Pro. So because of that, I want one that works with it, so I don't have to go out and buy new goggles or any new sort of equipment. All it would be is the drone. And then the kind of third final box I needed to do is it needed to have the the ability to carry or use the DJI O4 Pro, because if you've been using the Avata's camera is amazing, and the DJI O4 Pro basically uses the same camera as the DJI Avata 2, which means if you didn't want to, you don't have to use a GoPro, and I prefer not to, so I wanted one that could obviously use the Pro. So after that, I spent hours and hours on the web searching and looking for the best drone, and there are tons of drones out there. It is unbelievable. So I was looking around, and basically I decided to settle on the iFlight Nazgul Evoque F6D V2 O4 Pro frame kit. You can tell I just read that off the box. So I then went online, obviously searched around for the best place I could find it, and then ordered it, and that has now arrived, and I am now going to be starting to build that today. Right, so I just want to take a quick moment to announce the launch of my website. So I had a few people message me asking where they could get t-shirts, so I had to think about it, and I realised this would be a good way to help support the channel and make sure that I can keep bringing you entertaining, interesting content on a weekly basis. Right, so rather than give you a kind of step-by-step walkthrough, I'm just going to talk about my experience with the drone and how I found building it. I'm just going to speed up the video, because what you're about to witness in the space of, I think I've shortened this down to about 7 minutes, is about 2.5 to 3 hours of torture. So first thing I will start by saying is this piece of paper I'm looking at on the table, which they've sent and called an instruction manual, is definitely not an instruction manual. I think it's hard to even say it's a part list. No, okay, that's a bit unfair. It's a part list, but it's an inaccurate part list. There were screws there that weren't listed. There were screws there that were listed incorrectly. It was just a whole kind of ordeal about how it goes together. Thankfully, there's kind of like, I've been looking, because I knew I've been expecting this drone for a while now, so I've been looking like for videos online to how to build it. There's nothing really. I think I've come across 2 videos, one of someone else building a different iFlight drone, and someone else building a drone that I think is very similar to this, but he is skipping out all the bits I wanted to know. So like where the screws go, all that kind of stuff, because obviously he's a more advanced builder, I guess, but so he kind of skipped all of those kind of bits that I was looking for. But he did help me with this part, because the drone has LEDs. So if you saw me a minute ago, I was popping in some like clear tubing. That's where the LEDs shine down. And that basically means that I knew where they go, and where this little piece on the table currently goes, that's the LED, like one of the LEDs. So that goes in the middle of these arms. So yeah, it was just, without that, I probably wouldn't have known where those went, because they are not mentioned on the instructions at all. So then that brought me onto the screws. As I said, there's so many screws with this. I think there was probably about 15 or 16 bags, maybe 17 actually, bags of screws. And they're labeled what they are, which is good. But I kind of decided to kind of go ahead and label them with the part numbers just to try and make my life a bit easier so I could correspond them to the image that I was trying to recreate basically. So as you can see there, I've gone through them and I'm just trying to make sure that I've got them all lined up so I know what goes where. So immediately I kind of ran into my first problem because one of the screws they had, which I've just put in, is the screw does not go there effectively basically. So after spending ages and ages wondering why the screw was so long, I basically decided to just kind of copy screws from somewhere else. But it was just a real pain. The image that they give you is just not clear. It's not accurate as well. There's no number 12 on there. I think number 13 appeared twice. As I said, that screw they were telling me to put in that place there wasn't the screw that went there. So it was kind of like a bit of praying and hoping. So yeah, it was kind of ordeal. It was a bit of an ordeal. So I'm just kind of looking at what needs to be done here. But basically what kind of happened as well is my battery on my camera actually was running low. So I just let the battery die, and while it was charging, I decided I was going to get started with some bits in the background. So in a minute, you'll actually see it's just going to cut off and you're going to see some bits being put together a bit more than they were. But basically all that is because I came up with what I would like to call my ingenious idea. It's probably what someone would have thought of quite early on. But basically what I did is I then realized that because I couldn't figure out exactly where all these screws went, I decided that instead of going through and trying to put the screws in that I was doing and building the frame, what I was actually going to go and do is just basically focus on building the bits that I do know how to do. So the bits that I can see that need to be done, the bits that need to go together, I will just basically put them together so that I can kind of clear up what's on the table. So that just meant I had less bags on the table, I had less screws, and then I could kind of use trial and error to try and figure out exactly what screws went where. And after that, as you can see, I've started to make some actually really good progress on it. So putting bits together, so it's just coming together really well. These two little black bits on the left of the screen, they unfortunately caused me a problem. So obviously, again, they are kind of weird because they show you them going in. There's 3 screw holes in each, but there's only 1 screw for each. It's just a whole ball ache. But I put the drone together and then I forget that I need to put these parts in. And then, unfortunately, I have to take them apart again because I forget that because you can't see on the diagram, I eventually realised that as I was getting less and less parts on the table, I realised actually, there's some bits here that are missing where do they go? So like studying the diagram, I kind of saw that, actually maybe they should go in this. So I put it all together, as I said. So got it all, the drone, the sides on, got it all together nicely. And then unfortunately I had to then take it apart again in a second because that's when I start realizing that, hold on, actually there's some extra bits on the table that should go in the parts that are there. So I thought rather than doing it now and doing that, let me just take it apart. So all those wires you can see, so that, as I said, the drone has LEDs. So the arms light up, it's got LEDs on the side, and that little controller you can see in the front of it is kind of like the electronic controller for the lights. So I'm not going to plug any of those things in now because I still have to take this drone apart again eventually to put in the ESC and the motors and the flight controller. And then once all those bits are kind of in, when I eventually get them one day, then I will plug those bits in. I'll show me putting bits in that could possibly break and pulling them apart again, basically. So, but the drone itself, its frame, it was a tough build. I would not say this was easy. I would say it would have been easy if the instructions were all right. So that's the main, if you're thinking of this drone or you're contemplating it, definitely just take your time because the instructions will not help you. If you are thinking of building it, then please drop me a message because I can help you. I can tell you pretty much what screws go where. So yeah, but the drone it's come together, it's looking nice. So I've got it all together, just popped the top on. I was debating whether or not I was going to use the GoPro mount, but then I decided actually let me just stick it on there because I don't plan to use the GoPro because I basically want to use the DJI O4 Pro, which means I wouldn't effectively use one. But I thought, is it really a FPV drone if you don't have a GoPro mount? So I decided to stick it on. And then, yeah, this was it. That was kind of me just admiring the kind of end of my work and also gathering up all the bits that I have left. So there's obviously bits left. There's the antennas, there's the propeller guards, so propeller guards, there's the wire tidies and stuff like that, and extra little bits that are just available on the table. But yeah, this was the drone, this was the build, this was intense, and it was very, very difficult. So that was a quick surmised build of the new frame. I will hopefully be flying in the air one day. As I say, I'm just going to be buying the parts slowly as and when I can. So it's not going to be a quick build. It's going to be a build going on in the background. I'll still be like making some footage of the avatar, but I will definitely be doing this, and I'll be updating it as and when I get new parts for it. But from the first inspection of it, it looks like really good quality. Only thing I would say is where these kind of tubes go in at the bottom, where they obviously shine the LEDs down. Two of them kind of don't stick in properly on this side. They're a bit loose. Nothing to do with my building. They just don't seem to clip in properly. So yeah, so obviously that's kind of a slight issue on that side. Other than that, the rest of it looks really good quality. As I say, looks like a really sturdy frame. So I'm surprised. Well, I don't know, because obviously I haven't got any other FPV drones, but I kind of felt like the arms would fold, but they don't. Obviously, it's not a big issue, and I assume they could probably fold if you just unscrewed one. No, they couldn't. They couldn't. So ignore me. But that would be nice. But the frame itself is nice. It's lightweight. It's really good. So I'm really, really looking forward to actually continuing this build. I say when I get the parts. So unfortunately, it won't be quick, but I will be updating you regularly when I do get them. Anyway, so that's the start of my FPV drone building journey, I guess. If you've got any questions, if you're thinking about getting this drone and you want some help or any tips on how to build it, then please obviously just drop me a message, because I can now decipher that set of instructions that they sent with it. So I will definitely be able to give some advice. But anyway, thanks for watching FPVOE, and I'll see you next time.